All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comics Della Morte, episode 47 Horror Visuals That Stick With You and How We Make Them. I am your host, Crimson Owl Comics, Ronnie Gunter, and my co host, Frogbreaker Studios, Jason Alexander.
Make some noise, y'all. Or
Yeah.
Van. Make some noise, Van. You know,
Yeah.
make some noise. You gotta make double noise now. Let's do it, man. How y'all doing? What's going on, Ronnie? What are we doing tonight?
Oh, we're just going to talk about a fun topic that you brought up because, sometimes, we do the book reviews, but we just need to have fun and pretty much shoot the breeze. And it's fun to just talk about, horror in general,
Yeah. So when I was at work, I was just thinking, I messaged Ronnie and I'm like, we should talk about like horror visuals and scenes. Because it's like I'm getting a little catalog of things that like I remember, like that I like rock with horror. And so like both in comics and in movies.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of those scenes are like things that I see and I'm like, man, you could build an entire story around like this one moment, whether it's a shot in a book, not to jump, but like some of the stuff that we saw in Uzumaki was the stuff that was like,
I was gonna go right there.
Yeah, how do you like realize that you can capture an audience with a visual? And it's like so many different books that we've read. Even like the books like that I didn't like Hellraiser, have had these moments that you associate with the book. And I guess all in all, like that's something, that's something, especially in the vein of horror, because there is a lot of shock that you might want to accomplish. Ronnie, like your, A Heart has a lot of moments in it, that are like shocking. But if the story means something to the story, then it's worth it.
Yeah.
But speaking of A Vengeful Heart, we should talk about that first. But I know you're going to say, you talk first. So I'm going to talk first. Damn it. Minicomicbundles.com. Y'all, before I screen share, I just got my bundle number 9 in the mail. So start looking for them. The stories are fantastic, and I'll show you some up closes of the stories. And then I want to say one other thing, but I'll get to that in a second. And then I got quick little notes I want to hit real quick. So minicomicbundles.com. These are our current stories, guys. We got Drifter 2 of 6. Oh man, this story it makes me smile. Like I can't believe. So you write, and you write, Ronnie, but sometimes you write, and when you work with a different artist, this is all something that I'm learning now, because it's not like I've done this 1,000 times. But you work with an artist, and your script takes on a whole different life, because now it's got visuals. And Aaron does such strong visuals. And I realized, like, reading through this book again and seeing it like in its true form. Hold on, I just gotta talk about this real quick, guys. Seeing the Drifter in its true form, it's just this particular chapter did not have a ton of action in it. But you guys can't, like, just let me close this. Let me close this so you can see this. I want to get this picture bigger. Like, this artwork is storytelling 101, and it does it by itself. But man, Aaron, it's such a good job, man. Like that was really cool, because I always enjoy what I write, but like, if I didn't write this, I would love it. And if Aaron didn't draw it, I would love it. But minicomicbundles.com, they're only $5 a piece. Yes, man, it's so strong. Like it might be my favorite thing that we've done so far. Like I'm over the moon with the book. It's I'm very proud of it, and I hope Aaron is too, man. It's just such a good book. But so we got minicomicbundles.com, $5 a bundle. You get the whole year for $60, but you also get web comics. You also get a couple of flash fiction stories, and you get Aaron's year 2019, which is a storybook. Gary Hodges, what's up, man? How you doing?
Gary.
But on top of that, I'm also working on a wrestling comic that I'm kind of like catching everybody up on my Instagram on Fallbreaker Studios, and it's pretty special because it's based on a lot of the personalities in Limitless Wrestling, which is the hypest wrestling company, definitely in the Northeast, but maybe it's got to make some noise countrywide too. So minicomicbundles.com, Instagram for more information on a Limitless Wrestling story. The title will be released probably in the next couple days, maybe over the weekend. I'll have some more to say about it. And I'm also working on a little horror vibe that I'm doing for Instagram, because I don't know, like I want to keep my horror tool sharpened, because it's the sandbox that I love.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm so glad. Thank you, man. That's awesome to hear, man. That is awesome to hear, because I feel like it counts a lot. Like I really, really do. Like you're gonna love this how the story finishes. So minicomicbundles.com, Fallbreaker Studios Instagram, Fallbreaker Studios Instagram for horror, because I love it. So that's what I got, Ronnie. I've talked enough. It's on you now, man. Gotcha. And then we'll get to what we're really talking about today. All but right. I forgot that we should be talking about this stuff
people, too. If you haven't subscribed yet, go there and subscribe. You know, it's taken a little bit longer with episode 3 just because, been tired with the health issues and everything. But, most of the people here, Jason, Gary, and even Van, they've seen some of episode 3, and they've seen the character design that I have for, Frank, who I put in the comic as a vampire. So yeah, it's coming along quite well, and it's just really fun trying to like hone my skills even more by taking, people that I know and trying to make them into my own style instead of just like drawing a random character from the top of my head. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's great.
Well, Ronnie, it looks nuts, man. I'm enjoying the story so far. I'm enjoying what's up, Firehawk 2069. Hey. I'm looking on Topless right now because I just want to hold on. Look, y'all. There's 2 chapters up. Y'all see, like, Ronnie's artwork is banging. He don't like to say it a lot. He don't like to share it a lot. He likes people to go to read it, and he should. But if you go read it, guys, like, just hit the subscribe button so you'll know when the next chapters drop. Yeah. They're good. He's putting his heart and soul into them. That shows is a story that he should be proud of. Like it's true horror, and like
it's basically like
a job well done.
It's horror, and awesome. It has like that, and it's horror, but then it has that fantasy world for people because it's based around like that world's own mythology and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been really fun. Yep. I appreciate it, Van.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. It's the way it feels. It's like every panel is like a cover. It's like a cover preview, and I love how you use color too. It looks good, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, no, for sure. I'm definitely one of those people. I've talked about it. I like to do the Marvel way. I have an idea of what the whole story is going to be and what each page is going to be laid out, but I pretty much just do the artwork first, and then I add the dialogue that would go with the story that I'm telling.
Yep. That's cool.
But it's definitely fun. But yeah, let's let's get into the topic we were going to talk about. Like,
Yeah. So like, what visual horror visuals that just stick with you, whether it's how you come up with them or
mhm,
ones that you've just seen, like what sticks with you. I know, like, as far as my own stuff so far, I
mhm.
like I like faces. Like, I like the facial reactions,
Yeah.
in a horror story, and that's just something that I do personally,
Mhm.
but who knows? It's like there's so many different things that I'm picking up on. But like, you got horror in action, Ronnie. So it's like, where,
Yeah. I
and
mean,
you
it's
you
really
got
fun
the
because
shock value a lot.
yeah, that's definitely what I want to do is go for that shock value where you
Yo,
see not just the shock value of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that he was going to take that character and do that to them, but also too the shock value on sitting down and coming up with monsters where you're going to be like, oh man, that is ugly,
yo,
with the
yo,
whole like maggot monster and the half woman, half fly, and just yeah, it's
yo,
just having fun with it.
yeah.
Definitely,
And, like,
definitely want to try to go towards the body horror and like the visual horror, where it's definitely
yeah,
reminds you of like the '80s, like especially like the '80s, The Fly. Oh my gosh,
yeah,
that is such a good
yeah.
movie.
I'm learning that that is like one of my favorite like tropes is body horror
Mhm. Yeah,
done right. Like,
yeah, done
that
right.
is
Not like how it is now, where you have a lot of this like horror movies like Hostel, where it's just nudity and gore
right.
with like you know you could go too much over the top. But when you have
Yeah,
something like the Fly with Jeff Goldblum in it, how he's slowly turning into this fly, and how he threw up on the guy's leg and hand, that was good enough where it got the message of across, but it was great. Even like the remake of the 1980s, The Blob, was a great
yeah,
visual effects for horror. And of course,
yeah.
with the thing and everything, you know, I really wonder if uh had to email Junyu Ito if he ever got inspiration from like John Carpenter's The Thing.
There has to be direct inspiration from
Yeah.
a lot of a lot of a lot of that style of
Hmm.
manga and anime is so reminiscent. Like, now, after
Hmm.
seeing The Thing, because I read a lot of those books first, and
Yeah.
then I saw The Thing. But so, okay, The Fly, the throw up on the arm and the leg was intense. But you
Yeah.
remember when he broke that guy's arm
Yes.
in the like the arm wrestling?
Hmm.
That was what got to me, because like, I used, we arm wrestled it, we arm
Right.
wrestled as kids, and we didn't know what we was doing. And it's like, my fear was always that would happen. And then when
Hmm.
I finally saw that, I'm like, it looks exactly what I thought it would look like. And like, that
Yeah.
stuff sticks with you. Um, Junji Ito, um, so much just through Uzumaki alone.
Hmm.
But like, even just in the story of Amagara Fault, where they show the other side, where these monsters, like, these people become monsters that are just like stretched out through that cave opening, where they, you know what I mean? Like, that is an image, like, of that whole story was
Yeah.
so good, and it was so built on suspense. But then when you finally see what these people turn into on the other
Hmm.
side of the mountain, it's like the payoff is so, it leaves you hanging psychologically, because it presents you with something that doesn't make sense at the
Yeah.
end, but not doesn't make sense in a bad way. Like,
Hmm.
just this like final picture that is just too intense to deal with, and after leaving you hanging psychologically, that's when I enjoy body horror.
Oh
And
yeah, especially like you were saying, especially when it's the body horror, but it like where it has a it's messing with your mind because
yeah,
a Uzumaki, besides just creating random body horror, he's creating body horror that relates to people's fears. Like when you see like how Uzumaki likes to work with like holes. There's a fear out there where people hate seeing like holes on their skin. I can't remember what phobia it is, but he likes to play off of real phobias and see how he could take it to the next level.
Yeah, and I tell you how powerful that artwork was through the whole book is the image of the kid that got hit by the car when he was like in the wheel well. Sometimes, like when I look at cars, I still see that image. Like I saw it in real life.
Mm-hmm.
That's super heavy. But then like just in the next chapter, that body horror goes to the next level because now this kid who you see in this real life painful, tense situation that is like visually horrific because it can happen in real life.
Yeah.
Now this kid has become a car spring zombie monster. Chasing,
that's like a Jack in a Box, yeah.
Yeah, it's chasing these two teens through a cemetery. And it's like now the fear is released, but when it released, it was like a liquid became a gas. You know what I mean? Like it was two totally different types of body horror, but they worked, and they worked because one was real, but one was just that classic zombie chase scene.
Yeah.
With the monster through a cemetery with two teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
Man, like that story is so good. It's just so good.
I had to bring up this picture because this is a great example of like body horror at one of its like greatest. I mean, look at that. That's like a centipede head. Just
So body horror, for me, when it's good, it's more unsettling. Like this picture, it's not blood and innards ripped out.
Yeah,
it's stuff like this. It's like watching those people turn into slugs in Uzumaki. It's like primo body horror. It's man, there's just so much. Well, like we could have this whole discussion about that book, but I don't want to have this whole discussion about that book because there's so much other stuff. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about like another body horror. And of course we could talk about this a topic alone by just like some of the best, werewolf movies ever. But American Werewolf in London, that transformation is just such a great example. Like
it just looks painful, right? Like
it does.
And I
it looks
think
painful.
That's what counts. Yeah.
And not just that, but trying to find ways to take something like that and make it in a comic book format, where you're trying to like really get it across that this transformation, it hurts like hell. And on top of it, how could you make it look terrifying if you were a person looking on seeing this person change? So it's like, what can you do to make it just as, gruesome in a comic book where you don't have to go frame by frame like you would in a movie?
Yeah, I feel like with comics, I feel like that's where you almost have to build a crowd almost because if you can capture people's faces around your main character, and see like their horrified looks, if a few good sound effects, you can pull it off. But there's something about that. It's something about watching, especially like the snout grow.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's pretty intense. Junji Ito's Layers of Fear has a full page drawing in it. I think about it. I gotta go find that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you had me at Junji Ito.
Yeah.
Like easily like my favorite horror comic writer. Yeah. I would say that. I'm not gonna say it's my favorite writer, but definitely like I just love the way his writing style works with his art style
Mm-hmm.
and the way he can set mood, and he just he's dedicated and it shows, and like that's what you need for those lasting images, or those lasting scenes, or those that lasting paragraph in a horror story. Like
Mm-hmm.
you gotta care about it first, because if you
For sure.
don't and you just throwing slash on a page because it's just for shock value, it's like
Mm-hmm.
that worked for a time, but it doesn't mean much. So just not even body horror related, Ronnie, do you have like a favorite horror movie scene, or do you have like a chunk of like little things that you love about horror movies?
Uh, man, some of my most favorite parts about horror movies is like the most creative ways of the killer killing people. You
Yeah.
know, and that's probably why I'm such a fan, especially growing up as a kid, of like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, because in the beginning it was just him like cutting people with his blade, but then later on it got into like, hey, I'm gonna turn this girl into a giant cockroach, and her arms are gonna be ripping apart. She'll fall down into like this cockroach hotel where like her skin is ripping off her face because she fell into like the sticky part, and you just see like the cockroach forming out of her, and then you just see Freddy Krueger crush the cockroach box, and you see juices just come out of it. Just creative ways on making people be like, oh, that was disgusting.
Ronnie, you are nasty as hell.
Or even another scene. I mean, these movies been out for a while, but in Dream Warriors 3, Dream Warriors, the third movie, there was this guy who made puppets, and Freddy Krueger literally cut like his arms and his feet to have like his I think his nerve endings, or like I can't remember what it was, but he basically, you see him like walking like this, and you see strands of like blood flesh of having to move, and then Freddy's just at the end cuts the flesh and has him fall down from like I think a 30-foot building or something like that. But yeah, just creative ways, like ways where it doesn't have to be too you know violent, but
What did
that's
you
why,
just describe? It's
right?
pretty violent.
Well, not like almost like
Right. No, I know what you mean
torture
though. Right.
porn,
Right. Yeah. Like
because
that's
it's one of those things that you can only see one person kill people with the machete and cut them in so many different
sure.
ways. That's why they had to have Jason later on in this series kill people in different ways as well, instead of
Yeah.
just using the same weapon.
Yeah. Like, but I joke, and it's like that's not. I love the first Nightmare on Elm Street. I
Mhm.
think I'm up to. I've seen a few of them now. The first one is the only one that I'm like, I
Yeah,
like this movie. That first one was a horror movie.
yeah,
Like they did become very dynamic and very creative, like
mm,
as the movies went on. But they kept making those movies for a reason. Hello, like they made a
yeah,
gajillion dollars on those movies, so they worked. But
hmm
um, I liked in the first Nightmare on Elm Street when Freddy had like stretched his arms out like
yes,
impossibly long. Like
yeah,
little stuff like that is the stuff that's
hmm
what like I get a kick out of with horror. Or like so it's like I feel like I've become Mr. either Uzumaki or Mr. Midsummer. But
gotcha.
I do enjoy more than this. But like things that stick with you. And this movie had 1,000 of them for
hmm
me. Number one, just the way that I can't remember the main character's name right now, but just the way that she cried. And it doesn't seem like a horror thing, but it makes you it's so real it makes you squirm in your chair. And then at the end of the movie, like the final death scene for the rest of the sacrifices
Yeah.
was so surreal. It was just like good. Like I love the feeling of being uncomfortable. And I love the feeling of being uncomfortable with a familiar feeling in a strange location. It's just, being trapped in space and being in a position where you're probably going to die in space, but then you have to run from the space monster, or the space monster, traps
There's
you
only
in
so much.
a
There's
burning
only so
room.
much you could go to.
Yeah, it just builds tension, and then like the monsters become the background. Walking Dead is a perfect example of that. The television show. I haven't read a lot of the comic, to be honest, but the television show, I watched the first 7 seasons, and before it kind of fell off for me, the zombies just kind of became part of the background.
Yeah.
It's like, don't get too close to the edges, of the zombies will get you. But you don't really have to worry about that, because now, like, there's these like uncomfortable situations that are built. And like those are the things that I remember in horror. And that may not count, but it's really the foundation that I write on. Like, I'm learning a lot of these, the rules of like these supernatural situations per se, or what rules I would make. But I do believe that in order for it to truly be scary, for me, there has to be like a point of relatability, even in the most impossible situations. I gotta have like just a little pitch of, hey, you've been through something like this, even if you haven't. Like, it's just a relatable feeling. So that's like, I feel like it's cool, because I feel like you and I are like very opposite on what our final like satisfying factors with horror is. But it's awesome, because like, I hope one day I'm able to introduce you to things that you've introduced me to that I should see, like, because if you didn't feel the way you do about body horror, you wouldn't have been like another voice in the impetus of me watching The Thing finally at 40 years old, So like, I love horror, but I love all the aspects of it. Like, I do want to like venture into slashers a little bit, because that's like, for movies, it's just a area that I haven't really spent a lot of time.
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of those things. Slashers have become like basically superheroes are the main thing going on, but with horror, you have all different type of like subgenres, but the slasher genre within horror is the most popular at this time. And because people love the villains, people want to see these villains do these kills. And if you have a villain that has a personality, like Freddy, people grow on to that, or you have like the silent killers like Jason and Michael Myers. They don't talk, but man, they have some of the greatest like deaths in there, and not just deaths, but it has like the funny cliches in there, like, oh, this one is a jock and this one is a girl who decided to get naked in the beginning of the movie, she's gonna die, but it's just great, because it's one of those things, it's the same setup, but they find ways to make it different each time. It's fun.
Yeah, like something that I've learned is usually the, hey, what's going on in there guy is going to give you a pretty intense horror visual when he finds out what's going on in there,
Yeah, and just another picture I wanted to bring up. This was actually a Freddy Krueger one. It's not that violent, but it makes you want to know more about it and what's so terrifying about it.
Yep.
Let's see. Okay, so it's that one. All right. And this is just done beautiful visually as
Yeah,
well.
look at that. That is awesome.
Yeah. Like you just see, like I said, it's not like too gory at this point, but you see like Freddy's head popping out from the tree and his
Yeah,
the
it's like
branches becoming a claw. Just really great special
that's
effects
total
here.
pulp. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh man. So can I tell a story about horror visuals real quick?
Yeah, not a problem. Go ahead,
All
bro.
right. This is gonna be a quick one. And it's just because I I grew up working a third shift job
Mm-hmm.
from the time I was 7. Oh man, hold on. I'm looking for it. I gotta find this poster because it's gonna make this like it's gonna make this whole story. If I can find the right poster. Okay. Oh man. Okay. So anyway, we used to clean a theater when I was a kid. We
Mm-hmm.
cleaned the movie theater. So we saw all the movie posters before they came out, and we saw all the horror posters and movies we never got to see. Right. Well,
Yeah.
there was this movie. There was this movie that came out called Night of the Demons, and when this movie,
Classic.
I
Oh my
never
god.
saw it. I never saw
You
it,
have to
but
see it. You
I just
have to see it.
remember this poster was like obvious, super scary, especially for us.
Oh my
But
gosh. Can't believe
they
you haven't
all,
seen it.
my dad always knew like where they kept the posters after they
Mm-hmm.
took them out of the big poster frames for the movies, and so there was the 2 middle theaters. There was 4
Mm-hmm.
theaters, and the middle 2 had 2 sets of double doors to go. So my dad told my creepy ass brother to go get something out of one of those like double door movie places. So when he went down, my dad started shutting off the lights, which he usually did. So he's shutting off the lights. My brother opens that first set of double doors coming out. And when he opens that second set of double doors, this was all he saw. Oh my. This was all he saw when he opened that door, y'all. Oh my gosh. This. And it was so big. And he just collapses to his knees and grown man cries. And it was a memorable moment.
The funny thing is, me and my nephew, we went out for free comic book day. One of my older nephews, and that place that we talked about, he actually bought one of the first Night of the Demon for DVD.
Oh no way!
And I looked it up. Do you have Amazon Prime?
Yep.
It is on Amazon Prime video right now for free.
Oh no way! Oh no way! It might be a weekend.
You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it, or if you don't want to watch it by yourself, we'll get in a group chat, and then we'll watch it at the same time and talk to each other.
All right. Yeah, man,
it is a good movie.
Oh yeah, all right. Yeah, I'll give it a watch.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, so besides that, like what visual horror can you think of besides the poster that really jumped out at you that makes you really want to grasp that and create something similar when you're getting ready to make your horror comics, or even when you're writing and you're hoping that Aaron could grasp that and put it into a visual form?
So I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
I love it all. And I see things. You got to come back to me with this one. That's a tough question, Ronnie.
Gotcha.
Because like I see things and it's like I try to pause only the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like there's these moments of shock that I would love to capture. Mm-hmm. But the one, and maybe it's just achievable for me because it's just kind of where I am with my writing right now. this might be my favorite movie moment. 7.
Yeah.
When they go into the house with Sloth,
mm-hmm.
and his face is this close to this dead man's face, and he coughs. Man, let me tell you what. Like, that's what there was no truer feeling of terror for something
Mm-hmm.
I had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
Than that moment. And
mm-hmm.
like 7 had a few like unsettling, scary moments. But I think that if I could capture a feeling through a visual, it would be that feeling, but not necessarily just repeating that visual, but just that's the, you know what I mean? Like, that's the goal feeling that I want to accomplish with my horror.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So what about you? What's your target?
Man, just as you guys seen with like the other 2 stories that I wrote and drew, and some of this one too, finding ways to make something like scary, but trying to find ways to make it like sexual too, in a way, like if I'm just gonna give one of it out. I talk about how this in a dialogue format, how the woman's going to be raped by the devil for several hours. I don't show that, but I show the image of the woman tied to the pole, and you see this man with like bat devil wings, and you see him bare ass naked. That alone could grasp that image to have you see that, and then you're reading the rest. So now your mind is literally trying to picture that what you just saw.
Right. Yep.
So it's trying to tell the story.
Involved. Yeah,
exactly. You want to get the reader involved, where you don't want to, have the whole sex scene panel by panel. You just want to like say enough where your mind could play the rest out, because that's the thing about comics. Unlike with movies, you could go into full detail and show all that, but with comics you want to hone it down a little bit and focus on what's the most dramatic events part of that.
Yeah. Like, what's the cliff notes? Like, what do you have to see to get the point across? And it's like, that's
and I hope I capture that with with my episodes.
Yeah, I think you're doing all right there, Ronnie. I think you're doing pretty damn good.
Appreciate it.
No problem, man.
Oh man, that's speaking. I gotta, for anyone out there, I'm not gonna, because it's like due next month, but I've been looking at cons, and there is an like the book from Evil Dead, Nepricon or something like that. This is called the Nepricon Con. So basically, it's a small con where it's aimed towards horror and fantasy.
Yeah.
They've had some like horror creators there, but they've also had like not like horror comics as well, but they'll have special guests who have done like horror books, like Anne Rice and all that stuff. So definitely gonna like look into that for next year to really go there, because it's one of those events where the table, I think for like, what is it, for like a day or 2 days is like $40 a piece. So it's definitely a smaller con.
Yeah, it's not like too bad.
Bigger one, but still. And what's great too is that they even have like a print shop. So if you don't want to have a table and you just want to take a bunch of your prints and put them in the shop, you could do it that way to get your message across and get a fan base. So yeah, definitely looking into a lot of stuff down here in Florida, what I think would be best for my horror comic. Because awesome, let's face it, Comic Cons, they're great and everything, but they're just focused on like mostly heroes, so I think my stuff will be like hidden and buried underneath all that stuff. But something like that would really probably do good for me.
Yeah, Ronnie, your stuff will be fun in a homemakers craft show.
Right?
It's good shit, man.
Yeah.
Don't sell yourself short. I think your stuff is as good as anything. So
Appreciate that.
just keep making it happen, man. I think you're gonna do awesome.
So also with you seeing how like Aaron drawing it, how am I gonna picture it? Like, do you sometimes talk with
What's
Aaron,
up,
be like,
Frank?
okay, that's good and everything, but can you grasp this a little bit more? Because he's the artist, you're the writer. But is there anything that sometimes he'll draw something that you miss that is missing from the writing? Like it wasn't as graphic as you wanted it to be?
No. Aaron and I, we had an
Thank you,
idea.
Frank. I appreciate that.
Is that a Foot Clan beanie? No, sir. This is a UNC Tar Heels hat.
Foot Clan.
But yeah, that I can't show you where that stuff is because I'm like the oldest. I'm like the oldest person in the Foot Clan, so they don't like me to talk about it too much.
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's me and Aaron. We understood each other pretty early, and
yeah.
I don't know, like with the minis, especially with it being like it started out as his brainchild.
Mm-hmm.
I trusted the adaptations, I guess I would say, to the script on most of them. But because I feel like Aaron tells as good of a story visually as I do with my words. So
yeah,
he doesn't really interfere with what I write as long as as long as it fits in a realistic scope, because I get a little long-winded in my writing, and so with the minis it's just different. You don't have as much space. So other than that, like Aaron's never really had an issue with a story. He's just it just has to fit, and I trust what he's doing on his end because he's proven it now, 9 months in a row. So, but horror is coming back in month 10, guys. Like we do have a horror one shot coming in month 10 called Jagged Edges. And it's pretty hype. Like I honestly had forgot it was even in there. And then I just saw that he was already starting production on volume 10, so it won't be long before we're announcing that's rolling out because he's in a groove right now.
Awesome.
So yeah, but no, horror's coming back. No, Aaron and I feel like we tell a good story in unison.
That's good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, we're almost at the 45 minute mark. I mean, you want to keep on going until a full hour, or you got pretty much said what you want?
I think I'm good, man. Like, I think I'm good. Like, horror visuals are fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. And pretty much, this is kind of related to the jump scares, but yeah, it's trying to find the perfect way to create horror visuals without having to take up like 3 pages to show it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah. But, thank you everybody for joining the chat. Dory, Salazar. Sorry, Dory, they had you come in at the last minute, but we appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by anyway. It's still a decent little chat, so rewind it, watch it again.
Yeah, for sure. And everyone that's in this chat, go subscribe to them. Dory, Frank, everyone, they are great creators. They are great artists, all doing their own things. Van, he's got some great stuff out there. Just, hit them up, subscribe to their stuff.
Van really killed the Fall Breaker Open last year. Like,
yeah, he did.
I really enjoyed his stuff. I enjoyed the format with the red paper. Gary Hodges, like, look at this. Like, this is like the AP honor roll here. Like, this is an artist, man. I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, man. Gary, Frank, Dory, Van, like y'all are awesome, man. Thanks for coming in and
Firehawk.
checking us out. Firehawk 2069. What's going on? Yeah, thank you for stopping by. So yeah, check me out. Instagram, Fallbreaker Studios. Also, I forgot to say this earlier. I'm doing reviews for IndieComicDispatch.com. So I got my first 2 reviews up. So I'm hoping I get some more up here soon. So check them out. There's a bunch of awesome articles. They cover a lot of ground with indie comics. Man, check them out. IndieComicDispatch.com. It's a pretty solid who's who, and there's some good folks to hang out with. So check out IndieComicDispatch.com. I write reviews for them. They got a gang of other reviewers. So check us all out, man. Like there's some stuff popping this year, Ronnie. Like people are trying to do something different. So
and for anyone, most of the people in this chat, they are subscribed to Peter Palmiotti. Tomorrow at noon, I will be on his show to talk about horror and my project, A Vengeful Heart. You know, Peter's a great guy. I've known him for several years, and he's almost at 1,000 people. Get him there.
Yeah,
he
go
does
subscribe.
great work. But we'll see y'all next week. Bye.